Living destitute, the famous cynic philosopher Diogenes slept in public areas and asked for food. Once, he begged in front of a statue. When asked why, he replied, "To practice being turned down." Rejection is a part of a beggar's life. Although painful, facing it is essential for survival. By becoming indifferent to it, he could ask for food without fear. Similarly, many people fear rejection due to the pain it causes. Consequently, they avoid situations where rejection is possible. They refrain from applying for challenging jobs, avoid asking someone out, and hesitate to contact friends. What exactly do we fear when rejected? Is it the disapproval of others? And if so, why does it matter? Alternatively, could it be the fear of inadequacy? Human beings naturally seek belonging and connection, striving to be a part of something larger than themselves. Achieving this often requires approval from others. Who rejects us? People decide if we are suitable to be part of the group. We encounter this situation during childhood, when other children have to decide if we can join a game of hide and seek. Later on, the popular kids determine who can sit at their table during lunchtime. As adults, others determine if we are qualified for specific jobs, the right fit for certain social groups and environments, and even if we are eligible for a romantic relationship. Therefore, if we desire something in life that requires approval from others, we will eventually encounter rejection. In many instances, rejection is founded on logic and rationale. For instance, if someone in a wheelchair applies to become a professional soccer player, rejection is a foreseeable and rational outcome. Similarly, rejection is unavoidable when someone without relevant education, work experience or skills aspires to become the CEO of Google. In such situations, we simply lack the necessary skills for the role. In many other situations, rejection doesn't always seem fair. People may reject us for flimsy reasons like clothing style, even though we'd be highly compatible in other areas. Despite sharing many interests, potential friends may dislike us because of our looks. A nightclub may deny us entrance for the same reasons, even though we could have been long-term customers. A company may choose another candidate based on physical features rather than skills and experience. Despite the superficiality and irrationality of people's judgments, those who face rejection often feel personally humiliated. Being rejected by those we're romantically interested in leads to feelings of inadequacy. When people reject us, we believe we're not good enough. The more rejections, the stronger this idea becomes. But, according to Arthur Schopenhauer, we make a mistake if we take too seriously the judgments of other people. Apart from this, what goes on in other people's consciousness is, as such, a matter of indifference to us. And in time, we get really indifferent to it when we come to see how superficial and futile are most people's thoughts, how narrow their ideas, how mean their sentiments, how perverse their opinions, and how much of error there is in most of them. When we learn by experience with what depreciation a man will speak of his fellow when he is not obliged to fear him or thinks that what he says will not come to his ears, and if we ever have had an opportunity to see how the greatest of men will meet with nothing but slight from half a dozen blockheads, we shall understand that to lay great value upon what other people say is to pay them too much honor. Arthur Schopenhauer, The Wisdom of Life, Chapter 4. Rejection affects not just us, but also those who are rejecting us. Rejection is often not based on facts, reason or logic, but on the opinions and emotions of others. People's opinions can be irrational or outright foolish. Therefore, when our requests are declined, it can be beneficial to consider Schopenhauer's words. Looking at rejection from a Stoic standpoint reveals that the pain of rejection stems from having the wrong attitude toward the world. Rejection indicates that we are not getting what we want, which is the acceptance and approval of others. So when we fear rejection, we are actually fearing not achieving a specific outcome. Consider an example where a man approaches a woman at a bar because he desires a romantic connection. In this scenario, if he communicates his feelings and is met with rejection, it signifies that the woman does not share his romantic or sexual interest. In such a case, the man does not achieve the desired outcome. The philosopher Epictetus, known for his Stoic teachings, suggests that we should be mindful of our wants and dislikes. When we fail to attain our desires, we experience disappointment, and when we encounter what we wish to avoid, we feel distress. He advises us to avoid desiring events to unfold in a particular way and instead accept them as they happen. This approach reduces the usual pain of rejection, as we are not afraid of it, but rather embrace it willingly. We accept events as they naturally occur. It may be argued that rejection becomes irrelevant if we do not have specific expectations from the situation at the start. For instance, if we simply approach someone without any specific expectations or desires for more, then there is no rejection if that person does not reciprocate our approach, as we have already accomplished what we set out to do, which is the approach itself. Anything beyond that, such as a friendly conversation, exchanging phone numbers, or a romantic encounter, is considered an additional extra by the Stoics, known as a preferred indifferent. According to the Stoics, a preferred indifference is pleasant to have, but not essential for happiness, and it is beyond our control and therefore unreliable. Therefore, the outcome of the approach is left to fate. The philosophy of amor fati, as espoused by the Stoics, teaches us to accept our fate and not become overly attached to specific outcomes. If we are open to whatever happens, we cannot feel rejected. On the other hand, if we tie our happiness and well-being to a particular result, such as establishing a romantic relationship with a specific individual, our emotional state becomes contingent on that person's actions. Epictetus once said, "If someone put you in chains and put you in the custody of some random passerby, you would be angry. But if you give control of your mind to any random person who curses you, leaving you flustered, shouldn't you be ashamed of that?" Epictetus, Enchiridion 28. If we interpret rejection as causing pain, we allow another person to control our thoughts. However, if we concentrate on our own actions and accept any result, the responses of others cannot harm us. What we previously viewed as rejection will then be no more than an unimportant twist of fate.